Hi, welcome back to my channel. So I didn't get a chance to do a reading for the autumn equinox, but I actually really wanted to. And so I thought, why not do a reading for that 2-month period of autumn equinox until the winter solstice. This is a really cool period, I find, because it's a time when we are actually slowly losing light here in the northern hemisphere, and it's almost as if we are being, pulled back into ourselves, pulled back to our homes, our deeper internal places. And so there is a lot of healing possible in these months. It's almost as if it is the months of becoming aware of and cutting away old timelines, really pruning our trees in a way. And so I felt really guided to do a reading. I did already pull 2 cards and they were quite interesting. I got the lion in reverse together with the tarantula. And so it's interesting, the lion here is looking directly at the tarantula, but he is in reverse and the lion is not really happy in the reverse. He's not happy when he is experiencing a fall. And so this was kind of the dominant energy that came through when I first tapped into, or when I first opened the space for this reading. It's the feeling of, I don't want this. This is our egos, the current nature of our egos, and our egos doesn't like to not be in control, to not understand fully what is happening. Our egos doesn't like the setting sun, the dark. It wants to have awareness, it wants to see, it wants to be in control. And so actually the dominant feeling right away was like the feeling of, I do not want this. Why is this happening? Why am I not able to kind of create the path that I want for myself? Is kind of the feeling that comes through. And that's when the tarantula makes his entrance, because the tarantula is connecting us to a very deep part of our being. The spider or the tarantula, it tends to live in these darker places. I find them a lot in cellars. So I'm currently sleeping in a cellar. I have my bedroom there, and there are always spiders in my bedroom, always. They are attracted towards these slightly darker places and they love it there. And so very opposite to, the lion, the king of the savannah, the king of the place where the sun always shines. So there is this very kind of energy of opposition, our egos not being pleased with the events that might be happening right now, not fully understanding that these events are designed to connect us to this cellar space within our being, this deep, dark, very stable place within our being that we actually tend to call our rock bottom. It's like, so we don't necessarily associate our rock bottom with something positive, but it is our most stable place. It is when we cannot fall any deeper, when we have reached our limits. We cannot go any deeper without, losing our life altogether. And so it's almost as if this time many of us are going to be really challenged with looking at these deeper questions of, why am I really here? What is my purpose here? Why am I alive? What am I going to do with my life? It's really forcing us to go that deep, is what it feels like for many. And that's not always comfortable for the more, superficial parts of ourselves, the parts that just really want to be in the light and succeed and have importance within our society. But it's almost as if this is a needed step. It's like this is a needed step to become more than just a shell, is what it feels like, because this is what will connect us to our core. And so I want to pull some more cards to see deeper messages here, because as always when I do these readings, there are a lot of just floods of information coming through. It's like the challenge is knowing what to kind of share almost. So I did get the 9 of Pentacles. Underneath the deck was the 3 of Swords. And also the High Priestess, which I feel really cold. She wanted to come out. It's like, okay, so we have an interesting kind of gang here. 9 of Pentacles, 3 of Swords, and the High Priestess. The 9 of Pentacles is really talking about our ability to be more than a shell, really. It's our ability to create wealth, stability, and material resources for ourselves, doing what we love, following our passions, following what feels really purposeful for us, but also without damaging our own health. It's like, it's really being able to kind of have a really good work-life balance is what's coming through there. And to be able to actually make some kind of financial security doing that. And so the tarantula, it really speaks to me with this, because when I look at the tarantula, I realize that it's 8-legged. And this is something that's been coming through a lot for me, a lot of messages about 8-legged creatures. It's something with their 8-leggedness that makes them incredibly stable. It's like they definitely do not have all of their basket or all of their eggs in one basket. It's spread out. And so when I look at the tarantula now, it's almost as if its legs, each one of its legs is representing a river of consciousness. It's representing a source, a source that we can choose to create from. And so it's something about this falling that many are going through right now. Many will be experiencing, the being confronted with the areas within ourselves where we do not feel free, where we are, in a sense, guided away from our truth, from our core, from our depth, because we are afraid to confront the pain that exists within these areas. It's like within the cellar, when we go to the cellar and meet the tarantula, it's like we have to confront our fears. We have to accept our fears. Not run away from them. Not allow them to direct our lives. And that's really how we can start to awaken these rivers of consciousness, because it's almost like right now, these legs, they are frozen. You know, it's almost like right now we're in a state of poverty. Many, you know, it's not the fault of the individual, it's the structure of our society. You know, we have been, as a collective, we've been too poor energetically to actually go down into the cellar, to face our rock bottom over and over, so that we can really find power within that deepest, darkest place that we can go as a life, really. It's something about this. It's a really powerful time. And of course, what helps us with awakening these rivers, these legs, it's our intuitive abilities, it's our ability to look outside of the ego, to look outside of the narrative, or to simply just, you know, observe the narrative within us, but to not automatically believe it. I think that is, at least for me, it has proven to be very helpful. Observing my mind, observing whatever comes through, not pushing it away, welcoming it in, but also, you know, not automatically believing it, just being like, okay, it's there, interesting, I will keep that in mind, you know, I will continue to observe that. And so it's something about, you know, because the high priestess, she is in darkness, but she's still, look at her, she's still like, you know what, darkness, light, whatever, I'm in my power. And so she doesn't fear, ironically, she doesn't fear the feeling of powerlessness, because she's just saying, she knows that the feeling of powerlessness, the feeling of, I do not know how to do this, it's coming from the ego. You know, it's not coming from the essence of who we are. Because in that deepest layer of consciousness, in that cellar layer, you know, there is no true separation between what is us, what is nature, what is the river of evolution, you know. It's we are it, but we don't understand it, because the ego is always kind of based on the past, based on what we have experienced in the past. And so our ego is not able to understand things that it has not been taught, you know, that it hasn't heard about or been taught by others. And so that's what generates this feeling of powerlessness, of like, I don't know how to move forward. But the depth, within the depth of our being, we do. But it's almost like this won't come through, you know, the mind. It won't come through the story or the exact, you know, strategy step by step. It won't be clear. We won't know how to walk that path. It's like, but we need to tune in each moment. It's almost like this. Tuning into ourselves within each moment and feel, and not just rely on that king that is now falling, you know, the masculine archetype that is now going through a falling. You know, the stories, the words, they are changing and shifting, and it's like this information, it might not be that reliable right now, you know. It's almost as if, you know, we need to look deeper to see truth beyond the narrative, beyond the word. Is core level, deep and dark and creepy. Quite honestly, this is creepy. It's a creepy energy. It's everything that the ego doesn't like. Really, that's what this is. It's everything that the ego doesn't like. And so I feel also it's a time of compassion for the self, you know, it's a time of compassion for the ego, for this, the death of this masculine archetype, kind of death of patriarchy. You know, patriarchy exists within all of us. It's the structure of our psyche. And so if we're not able to be compassionate, if we're not able to forgive that structure, yeah, then it's almost like we are not going to be able to overcome it. Then we are still trapped by it, we're still enslaved by it, you know, we're still angered by it. It still owns our vibration. And so it's, like I said, it's a very powerful time. It's a time of finding our power. Let's see, one more maybe as a finish. Yes, I quite like this. It's the 9 of Wands. So it's been a long journey. You might not be consciously aware of how kind of long this journey has been. We also got the Son of Cups and the Father of Swords. This is, I love this energy actually, because it's like it, even though these are quite, I love this energy. It's almost as if, you know, these are two aspects of our psyche that will be really beneficial to us right now. So the Father of Swords is just that ability to observe, like I spoke about a little bit, to observe all of the narratives, observe all of the feelings, and to allow yourself to not necessarily be sucked into their gravity, to their point of gravity, but to maybe label them, name them. Oh, this is a narrative. Interesting. Oh, this is the feeling that is attached to this narrative. Interesting. It shows me the vibration of the narrative. It's something about restructuring our mind so that we create a little bit of a space from our ego, from, you know, the automatization within our mind, basically. And then this, the Son of Cups, is about opening creative space, is what I feel. Any kind of creative space that allows you to, you know, allows you to kind of externalize the current state of your inner self, you know. It's something about needing to get what is currently inside ourselves out, so that we can sit and observe it later and learn through observing our own creations. And so just like for me, for instance, doing these videos for me, they teach me so much about myself, you know. I really feel like each kind of reading I put out, it makes me grow, you know, because I see myself deeper, better. I learn to love myself more, accept myself more, and I become more aware. And so it's something really powerful about that, about creation right now, just in a safe environment. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, you know, don't get trapped in the lion trap again. It's like feeling that we need to create just to be to have success. It's not necessarily success that is the best prize right now. It's really awakening the awareness of your power, your depth, this cellar space that feels like it's gonna contribute the most to, you know, our potential to create abundance for the future. If we create from this right now, the old stories, the old, you know, everything that we've been taught about what's right, then we are basically creating from the energy of what has been. And what has been is falling, you know, it's not going to remain the same. And so you might quickly get, you know, success in that right now, but it's almost like that's just postponing this needing to face the cellar. You know, you will still have to face the cellar then, just at a later stage. And so it's something about this pioneering spirit, you know, of going into the dark. It's the spirit of a hero. Yes, it's that hero's journey, of course. Going into the dark and opening this path of abundance for yourself by learning how to confront your fears through self-love, through gentleness, through warmth. You know, there's a warmth coming from the tarantula. Confronting your fears through warmth. And it's almost as if that is helping you to defrost these rivers of consciousness, these different sources that you can draw on to spin your web, you know, to become completely able to feed yourself through your own creativity, is really what it feels like. So that it's so, I like, this is such exciting, such an exciting reading for me. It's like, yes, I want that, please, yes, okay, I'm gonna do this, this sounds fun. But it's also, you know, it is gonna be deeply challenging. It feels like this is a path for heroes. And so let's see how this plays out over the next 2 months. And it's going to be interesting to do the reading then for the winter solstice. That's the darkest part of the year. Let's see how things are going to unfold. I'm curious. So I hope that you're all doing well. I'm sending you a lot of love, a lot of strength during these times. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.